All right, good morning, agents. This is Kevin Lauren. I'm the Director of Training and Marketing here. And today we're going to go over the omnipresent marketing mix, which is basically a multi-pronged effect for marketing. So it's going to be a great webinar today. And we've got a lot of new agents on the line. Really good to see that. Well, before we get into today's presentation, we're going to bring Cameron Alley from Clearview Mortgage on the line. Good morning, Cameron. How are you today?
Good morning, Kevin.
All right.
Can't believe it's Wednesday again already.
I know. They creep up on us, right?
Yep, I know, right? All right, so let me get this screen shared real quick.
Perfect. Let me bring Bill Seitz, our ARG corporate broker, on the line as well. Good morning, Bill. How are you today?
I'm doing outstanding. It's going to be a scorcher here in Southern California, but we're going to try to keep it cool.
That's right. For the next couple days, right?
It's going to be absolute, probably hottest next 5 days of the summer, but that's all right. We've actually had a pretty mild one, so we're due for a few steamers.
Yeah, that's typical. We don't really get our nice little Indian summer in California, so typical deal.
Kevin, it says host disabled participant screen sharing.
I'm just like that, aren't I?
Well, there's like several steps, and it's just
totally
got to go through the checklist real quick.
You know it, my friend. All right, you should be good to go.
All right, perfect. All right, can everyone hear me? Everyone see the screen?
Yep.
All right, perfect. Just always have to check. All right, so
yes,
pretty significant update today. First, obviously, I'll go over the Treasury here. So today, the 10-year Treasury is sitting at about 3.1%. The last 2 days, it really hasn't moved at all. But it's currently sitting at its high since early July when we saw that really significant drop. We're still quite a bit below from the high of, I believe it was May. So that is good news, but we expect them to start coming back down here pretty soon. But this recent lack of volatility kind of tells us that investors are waiting on the most recent economic data, most likely to make a decision on the next moves regarding the Treasury markets. There was some economic data that came out today, which fell about 50% short of expectations, specifically private payroll hires, which added about 120,000 jobs when estimations were set at about 260,000 jobs. So pretty big miss there. I think that's like about 40% of what was expected. That's a pretty good indicator that the other job reports and economic reports will come in short, which usually results in a short-term drop in bonds and rates. So we'll see that probably in the next couple of days. I think all the reports will be out by the 3rd. Also, in more news regarding rates, the Fed released a statement in their recent meeting in Wyoming. I think that was a couple of days ago, stating that rate hikes won't bring down inflation as long as government spending stays high. Now, this is pretty obvious, and we've spoken about that a few times on the webinar. But the Fed coming out and stating this out in the open is in a way kind of a nudge to Congress, telling them to stop spending. As a bank who makes money off of every dollar that we print, that's a really strong statement. In fact, I can't remember in recent history the Fed stating something so direct regarding political monetary policy, because the Fed usually does not do that at all. So the paper or the statement basically argues that without constraints in fiscal spending, rate hikes will make the cost of debt more expensive and drive inflation expectations even higher. So basically doing a complete 180 on their previous talking point. And we kind of discussed that and thought that would eventually be the case on the webinar several times. So it's pretty crazy to see that actually happening. But to me, this is the Fed beginning to rethink their rate hikes, as we've spoken about. Also, Fannie Mae recently came out and stated that they expect rates to drop to the 4.5 range by 2023, aligning with our expectations. Now, when they say 4.5, that means in your government loan sector, your FHA, your VA, rates are going to be in the 3s, right? And it also allows buyers to get into the 3% range for a low point cost. And 2023 is right around the corner, so that's not far. And I do expect this to be pretty accurate, especially with the recent verbiage from the Fed, because the Fed stating that is, literally, I know Bill pays attention to this stuff, and many of you guys, I'm sure, do. But the Fed coming out straight up and saying that what they're doing isn't working is a huge deal. So the Fed kind of speaks in code. So you got to be able to kind of break down the code in order to really understand what they're saying. But just to show you the numbers here. So let's say this is probably about the average rate right now, right? So let's say you have a buyer that's going into $600,000 mortgage at a 5.75 for 30 years, right? That payment, principal, and interest is going to be 3501. But let's say next year we get them in and we refinance them to, let's say, the 4.5, which is going to be the no point option, which it would be, you know, kind of the higher option in all actuality. Just that saves them about $500 a month, right? So you can see how a drop in interest rates, even when, you know, 4.5 historically is pretty low. But to us who've been looking at rates in the twos for, you know, 2 years, that still sounds high. But that right there on a $600,000 mortgage saves your buyer almost $500. And then on, let's say, a $900,000 loan, you're sitting at, you know, the current rate, $5,252. Well, if they refinance it, it's into $4,560. So that's like a $700 savings. So, you know, just keep that in mind with your clients. You know, when they see that mortgage payment, obviously it's always scary. And we're so used to low mortgage payments, but, you know, with Fannie Mae coming out and saying that, and with the Fed coming out and saying that, I almost think that it's very likely that they're going to be at least this low or lower by mid next year. So, and then as far as current pricing, as I stated right now, for conventional loans, we're about that 5.625 range. So it did go up just a little bit from last week, but I do expect it to probably come down by Friday. So, you know, take that with a grain of salt. And then for the jumbos, we're sitting at that 5.875, almost 6% range now. With VA, same thing, about 5%, 4.875 is pretty cheap. So you can still get in the fours with these government loans. And then with FHA, same 4.875. But keep in mind, when you're looking at these rates here that we're talking about, you can buy up to 3 points, right? So in all actuality, the real margin here is anywhere from, let's say, 5.75 to 4.875, you know. So you have obviously a lot of options when it comes to rates. Your buyers have a lot of options. It's just what makes most sense for them financially. So that's why we're here to discuss that and try to get them the best pricing that we can. And then obviously you never want to spend, you know, too much money unless it's maybe you're self-employed and, you know, you never know what you're going to show next year on your taxes. Then I always do suggest to buy points, plus they're tax deductible. So, but anyways, that's the pricing for today. And I'll shoot it back over to Bill if he has anything to add.
Yeah, that was an awesome update, Cameron. I think for me and for the realtors out there, the key piece is that Fannie Mae Predictor, because that's a real tangible data piece that you, as a realtor, you can convey to your buyers, like, hey, you know, you might be getting in at a higher interest rate than you'd like right now, but all predictors are pointing towards relief in interest rates within the next 12 months. So, you know, that's a little bit of a comforting stat. And it also, you know, like you said, for Fannie Mae to come out and state that, as well as the Fed, they're making their positions known, and they're also kind of giving some kind of hopeful good news, right?
Absolutely.
And just quickly, before I get you going, Kevin, you know, we're in a environment where everything is costing more. Your gas is costing more. Your insurance is costing more. We're all feeling it. We're all aware of it. You can't do anything without feeling the financial implications of inflation right now. And, you know, it's as a company, we really want to do everything that we can, even though our costs are going up, we want to keep and maintain. We don't want to raise fees. We don't want to do anything to the structure of the company and way we have it set up. We've positioned the company the way we have because we believe, you know, the agent should be able to retain as much as they can of the commission, as long as we're able to support ourselves and you know, cover ourselves. But in that, you know, I'm seeing all these brokerages. I was talking to an agent on an airplane last week, and she's at another big brokerage, and she's telling me how they're raising their fees and they're kind of restructuring all their comp plans. and are just going like, wow, this, is happening in our industry, and we are going to do everything we can to not do that. But the way that you can also help, and we can treat this as like a team environment, is by bringing Cameron the opportunity to do a loan, by potentially bringing your next escrow into legacy escrow. And those little things help us absorb the cost of the rising environment, and we can keep things as low as possible for you guys and give you, Kevin services for, as low as we can. So just keep that in mind. It's unfortunately, we're in this type of world right now, and you have our commitment that we're going to do everything we can to keep things the way they are. But we do hope that you'll choose to support us in that same manner. And so I just wanted to spend a few minutes with that. And Kevin, you can take it away.
Yeah, no, great point. That definitely helps us. We are a team. And so again, we have just launched Legacy Escrow, and Raquel Bauer is an awesome escrow officer. And you can test out her services by giving her a call, 949-200-9305. And of course, Raquel at legacyescrowservice.com. So easy to get a hold of our team players. And like Bill said, it really does help us a lot. So we do appreciate it. All right, great. Well, I appreciate that, Bill. So we're going to switch gears now, and I'm going to share my screen. I've got a little graphic that I've created for you guys. And this is the omnipresent marketing mix. So in marketing, let me get to the top here. You can choose to do so many different things, but you do have to kind of draw a line in the sand and pick the avenues that you're going to choose for your marketing. So I put this together because this is what I believe is a good marketing mix for real estate. So omnipresent means that you're available everywhere. You see somebody on a flyer, you see somebody on social media, you see somebody's sign, you see maybe something on YouTube, you see them on Google. So the omnipresent marketing mix is that, it's just that you are present everywhere. So you really want to do that. So the goal with the omnipresent marketing mix is to cast a wide net. So you're going to get some people from this method, you're going to get some people from that method. But if you go fishing with a very tiny net, you're only going to catch so many fish. If you go fishing with a giant gill net and you're dragging it over, tons and tons of acres, you're going to get a lot of fish. So the omnipresent marketing mix needs to be looked at in that respect. So, and I'm going to include this graphic and this, all of this for you guys in the replay. So I'm not going to go through and read all this stuff, but this is really cool stuff that you guys can go through. So the cornerstone of the omnipresent marketing mix, especially for real estate, is the agent website. So every agent website should be equipped with the ability to search the MLS. You should have testimonials. You should have featured listings. You should have single property websites for your listings. You should have a nice about page that talks about who you are and how awesome you are. And you should have good SEO community pages, and SEO, of course, stands for search engine optimization. And so you should have pages that are dedicated to the communities that you serve in the cities that you serve. You should have good resources for your clients. And maybe you have some information about mortgage programs. Maybe you have some information about things that are going on in the community. So resources for your clients is huge to have on your realtor website. You should also have a professional referral network page that discusses all the different handymen and painters and plumbers and all of the different businesses that you can recommend to somebody that is in the home buying or selling process. A lot of times agents choose to put their, those other people's contact information on there. Some choose to just say, yes, I have, access to these people, ask me, and I'm going to refer you to those people. And of course, these are people that you vet. And you can have a lot of other stuff. This is just kind of scratching the surface, but these are the basics that every realtor website should have. So of course, with Alta Realty Group, we have our agent marketing system that is $99 a month, and your IDX fee to have that MLS feed into your website is basically between $22 and $42 a month, and that is directly to IDX, and they charge that direct. So the next piece of the omnipresent marketing mix is social media advertising. So Facebook and Instagram are obviously the biggest. I don't think you really need to go much further outside of those two. And again, you just want to focus on, you don't have to do everything. So Facebook, Instagram, they both offer the ability for you to do advertising on those platforms. So a great idea for social media advertising is to offer something of service, something of value for free or a service. So things like, if you use my service, I throw in a free house clean and you pay for a house clean. I will do a free, CMA, I'll do a free, whatever it is. And then that way, that when somebody approaches you, it came from that social media advertising. I always like to if you're going to do a giveaway, do some kind of a giveaway with social media that you can track back to that specific campaign. So that helps you gauge what you're doing, right? So like I said, free home evaluation report, free cleaning. And a lot of times what you're going to be doing there is you're going to be referring someone to your professional referral network. And so that's always a great way to build business and to build trust with the other professionals in these adjacent industries. And so guess what happens? You start referring business to them, they start referring business to you. So it's a really, really good two-way street there. So, social media advertising, if you're really serious and you're really, you're kicking butt in this business and you want to double down, I recommend a social media advertising budget of between $300 and $500 per month. And we, of course, have gone through, many, many different webinars talking about exactly how to do social media advertising. So you can go back and check out our YouTube channel. We've got over 200 videos that you can choose from now. And you can just go to the YouTube channel and search for specific things. So have at it. The next thing that I recommend in the omnipresent marketing mix is Google advertising. So that's literally bidding on search terms in Google for various targeted keyword terms like homes for sale in Irvine, properties for sale in Newport Beach. So you'll be bidding on those terms, and this is not cheap at all, but you definitely will get leads if you spend enough money there. So targeted ads running in your farm, and I do recommend at least about an $800 budget. You can get away with less. I've got a lot of agents on the line right now that do 200, 300, 400, and they just don't get that many leads. But if you are serious about real estate and you want to basically create a budget, you got to stick to it. And so I recommend at least 800 if you can afford that. Obviously, if you're just starting out or if you're getting back into the business, that's going to be a little bit much. And then also I do recommend doing retargeting. So retargeting is making sure that we embed a cookie on your website. And when people come to your website, they're going to be displayed ads in other adjacent websites like news sites. We're all aware of this, that you do a search for some shoes and then you go to a different website and all of a sudden there's a bunch of advertisements for shoes in the sidelines and in the banners. So you can do that too. So I recommend a budget of about $200 to $300 for retargeting, and you can do that through AdWorks. YouTube is another great place to do advertising online. Cool thing about YouTube videos ads is they are a lot cheaper than everything else. one really cool thing about Google Ads, YouTube ads, is you get to have your video displayed a lot of times. And if somebody clicks on the, skip this ad, you don't get charged. But somebody was already exposed to that little bit of your video. And so they saw your branding, they probably saw your face. And, a lot of times when you go to YouTube and you're watching a video, you say, oh, I don't want to watch this ad. And you click that little, skip ad button. Well, I already got exposed to that person's branding, and I already got exposed to, their face maybe. But as the advertiser, you didn't get charged for it. So you can do a small budget of $100 to $200 per month and make sure that your video ads are coming up, right? So super, super easy to do quick videos. You can make those in Canva. Our Canva program is really easy to use. Obviously, I think 2 weeks ago, we went through that and showed you how to make flyers in Canva, but you can also make video clips really easy. You can upload those into your YouTube channel, and away you go. So those are super, super, they're actually fun to do too. And the videos in real estate can be a lot of different things, right? So you could have just a property feature. You could talk about some, quick aspect of buying or selling process. You could talk about, the community. You could talk about your services and what you provide and how you're better than others. So there's a lot of different little things that you can put out on YouTube. And of course, they'll be served up to people in your community. So really good way to establish that omnipresent marketing. Some people might not see you on social media, but they watch YouTube videos all the time. So really, really great to pick up these different people in the places that they frequent online. Some people don't spend that much time online. So direct mail pieces, number 5, is also a really good way to expand that omnipresence in your community. So using, getting together with Tycor and letting them, establish a really good farm list for you. That's a great way for you to, do some direct mail pieces in your farm and in the particular area that you might be doing business. So there's a couple of really good spots that you can do direct mail pieces with. Let me share my screen. So where are they? Yeah, so direct mail pieces can be done with things like CoreFact. CoreFact is really easy to use, and Zip Your Flyer, also easy to use. So CoreFact is pretty simple, especially if you already have a list, but they do provide that as well. So very, very good to utilize that. All right, and then, if you do work a specific area or a farm, door knocking, leave door hangers, and a client welcome kit, maybe even drop off a 75-cent little potted plant and your client welcome kit. And that way your community knows that you're there. Also, just making those phone calls to potential sellers in your area. I just got a call yesterday from a local agent saying, hey, I have a listing down the street, getting a lot of action on it. You have any, are you at all into maybe selling your home? Of course, I said, no, I know real estate company, we're all good. But even making those phone calls in your area is kind of a good, kind of a segue from door knocking and leaving door hangers. Number 7 is your CRM, doing at least a monthly newsletter and drip campaigns. So drip campaigns to people in specific niches within your database. It's a really good way to stay top of mind. And then that monthly newsletter to everybody, prospects, people in your sphere of influence, family, friends, as many people as possible. You want to get that monthly newsletter to. And of course, we do provide that content for you guys. And tomorrow on the 1st, we'll have our September newsletter content go out. And referral campaign giveaway. So the giveaway is a really, really cool way to, first of all, train your sphere of influence on knowing that you are doing business and you're constantly asking for referrals, right? This is a big thing. Referrals are the biggest way for you to increase your business, but you have to be top of mind. And so creating this little giveaway campaign is a really cool way to train your clients and your prospects that, hey, you do this little giveaway every, whatever the frequency is. Some agents like to do it every 6 months or once a year. Some agents like to do it once a quarter. And so a really cool idea is to, in your monthly newsletter, say, hey, remember, next month I'm doing my referral giveaway. And, for summer, we're going to give away a Coleman grill. And so all you have to do is refer me to anybody that you think might be interested in my services, or anybody that is currently looking to buy or sell a home. And I'm going to put your name in a hat. And at the end of the quarter, I'm going to draw a name, and whoever gets that is going to be the person that gets that grill. And so you can do a lot of fun things with this referral giveaway campaign. You can, videotape yourself pulling the name out of the hat and saying, hey, John Smith won the referral. You can also video yourself presenting the gift to the client, right? And so all those things are super fun for social media. They're super fun as part of your YouTube campaigns. So it's all, can be kind of used to piggyback on each other. But when you do that every quarter, your clients, they start to expect that. And they're like, oh yeah, I wonder, who won this month or who won this quarter, right? And so if they start to expect that, then you're top of mind. You're the person that they think of when something happens and all of a sudden they need a realtor, right? So number 9 is create a move up campaign. So super easy to go through your database and go back to the people that purchased a home, 3 years ago plus, and offer them a rebate on their closing costs if they sell their home with you and then buy another home within 90 days. Perfect reason to contact them, perfect reason to offer them some kind of a small rebate. And again, just be top of mind. The worst thing ever is when you find out that somebody that you sold a home to sold their home, a few years later and used a different realtor for the listing. That's like the kiss of death. Every realtor, it's just, you feel the sting. So don't let that happen. And this is a great way to do it. Also, like we mentioned in the webinar last week, is, make sure that you're staying in contact with these people on a very regular basis, maybe even once a year, gifts, every 6 months, gifts, something, to make sure that they know you're their realtor, right? And then number 10 is, of course, use sign writers, use text sign writers for the for sale signs. So this means that on your sign writer, or on your for sale sign, you're gonna have a writer that says, text the word John sells to 79564 to get all the information about this listing. So what that does is that allows us to capture that person's phone number when they do the text. Then that goes into our CRM. Now we're able to do lead capture from our sign writers and from our for sale signs. So that's a super easy one. Also, some agents are using QR codes on their sign writers. That's a great idea as well, but just know that you won't be capturing the person's information. So they'll get the information, which is great. They may contact you, but it won't go into your CRM. So that's one drawback. And then number 11 is get leads from other paid sources. Sure. Whether it's OpCity, whether it's, realtor.com, there's a whole bunch of new ones coming out. I think Sync is one, Cognism. I'm researching a few of these. Offers is another one. Offers is one that is more flyer driven. But anyway, leads from other paid sources, whatever they may be, right? And then number 12 is one of my favorites, is the client appreciation party. 1 to 2 times a year, at least once a year, have a party, invite everybody, just show your appreciation. Doesn't have to be over the top, but just make sure that they all know that you're doing real estate, and have a nice little party, whether it's, a night at the pizza parlor, or a ice cream social night where you invite everybody down to the local ice cream parlor and you give them all ice cream. Doesn't really matter what it is, but just do something for your clients and give back. So those are what I would consider being the omnipresent marketing mix. If you are doing and engaging in all of these different things, you are going to be prepared, and you're going to be in front of everybody, and that's what's going to get you business. So I do see a few questions in the chat, so I'm going to check them out. So I'm going to traditional mail campaigns straight to the post office. Yes, the post office does have good rates, and you can get bulk rates directly through the post office. That's a great idea. Every door direct mail, also a very good idea. So appreciate that. And Bill, any takeaways from today's presentation?
Yeah, man. I think if somebody was doing everything on that list, they'd be busier than they could possibly imagine.
Absolutely.
But, I think the most important thing is to take the things off that list that you gravitate to, that you feel like you can do well, and choose 4 or 5 of those things, and focus on those things. Obviously, you don't want to get so overwhelmed that you're trying to do too much and you're not doing any one of those things very well. So, pick the 4 or 5 things you're like, oh, okay, I can send out a newsletter. That's easy. That all I have to do is get my list together. Okay, I can incorporate sign riders. Okay, I could do potentially the drawing, or I could do the client gift or the client part. You can, there's certain things that maybe just you're more interested in, and then you want to incorporate those into your business, right?
For sure.
There's a guy, a professional surfer that Kevin and I, Kevin and I have lifelong surfers. So a lot of times we relate to surfing and people that we know in that world. But there's a guy in Florida who, professional surfer, was a world champion one year. His name is CJ Hobgood, and he, became a realtor. He's in the greater Orlando area, and has really, built a thriving residential real estate company and business. And one thing that he does is, and this is kind of touching on Kevin's grill idea, is that every closing, he gives away a Traeger grill. Not their top end, probably on the lower end of the Traeger. So it's not like he's, getting too beat up on the cost. But what he does is really fun, and so he has fun with it, and then he pushes it out on social media, and he's kind of funny and goofy with it, and presents to his clients, and it's a really, really good marketing tool, and that's something that people kind of get excited about, or something that they remember him by.
Yes.
And that creates more business, more referrals, and all that stuff. So something like that, is really cool, because you can leverage it on social media. The neighbors get excited. They're coming over for the barbecue. They got their Traeger grill. Their realtor presented it to them. Like it kind of goes a long way as far as mileage.
It goes a long way, and it's a talking point, and something to, it's noticeable, right?
100%. I think that's part of it too. You got to have fun with this stuff. If it's too much of a chore and you're just okay, well, I'm going to pick this off the list. I'm going to do it because I'm supposed to do it, and it's just not something you can really get behind. Then maybe skip over that one and go to the next one.
Absolutely. You don't have to do it all. John Espinosa, great comment. Be consistent regardless of the activity you choose. Don't be hit and miss, right?
That's probably the best advice that we could possibly give on any of the stuff marketing wise. So
yeah, so John and Jennifer, they have been putting out their newsletter, and I mean a hard copy newsletter that goes out to all of the people that they've been doing business for, I think, the last 20 years, and they don't miss a month. And now they send them to me, and I love them. And they have stuff about their grandkids, and they have stuff about what's going on that month, and it's always different, and it's always engaging. And so they get a lot of business from that, but they're consistent. And they don't do social media, they don't really do some of these other things, but they've picked what works for them. And that's really, really cool. And now they are, incorporating the sign writers, and they're doing some of these other, digital things as well. But that was something that they picked, and they stuck with it. And that's, it's a really good testament to being consistent.
And what does a sign writer cost, Kevin? Just I know it's not very much, but what does like one sign writer cost?
Like $20.
Okay, so think about
give or take
a $20. Let's just call it $20. Could be 25. It could be maybe 30 on the top end. Could be 15. But the reality is that piece of plastic with your text code on it that sits on top of your for sale sign could potentially leverage you into multiple more deals through buyers, or maybe double ending a deal with that party, or whatever, getting a referral. It's such a small piece to add to your overall arsenal, and it blows me away why more people don't use those things. It's it's like you said, you either got to cast a big wide net and capture a lot of fish, or you're going to be the guy that barely catches a fish.
Which guy do you want to be?
But it's true. And so you reach so many more people with just something so simple like that. People don't want to go and call the realtor right away, but they'd be happy to text that to get the information. So it's a soft entry into it, and you're capturing that, and then that goes into your database, and you just keep building and building.
For sure. So if you guys can see my screen now, so once you create a sign writer that's in Harold's case, it's text the word sold by Harold to 79564 to get all the details. Well, once we use that and we sell that property, well, the next time that we get a listing, all we have to do is come in here and change the URL. And so we can use that same printed sign writer over and over again until it gets beat up and we have to get a new one, right? But it makes it very, very simple, guys, to, the systems that we have in place are built to make things really easy. So no excuses there. Bill, I appreciate your feedback as always, as our corporate broker.
Yep.
And anything else to wrap up?
No, just I think you already announced the legacy escrow opening, which we're super excited about. We've got some agents already requesting seller net sheets, and Raquel's doing an amazing job getting back to everyone expeditiously. So yeah, we encourage you guys just to keep her top of mind, Cameron as well, and have a great week, have a great Labor Day, and enjoy your families, and take a time out, and just get recharged, and let's go into the fall season cranking.
Absolutely. And of course, look for our content that we'll be sending out tomorrow, and get out there, make it a great week and a productive week. And we will see you guys next week on the webinar. Have a great day.